Well, hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello.
Greetings.
I'm trying to enlarge mine, but we're not going to worry about if it doesn't get enlarged. This is Kenneth Hammond,
And I am Sharaledon Brave.
and this is our first cafe chat. I know no one has signed on yet, but that's cool. But we're excited about doing our cafe chat.
And if I know my family, they'll be popping in a moment.
Here comes somebody.
There you go. Greetings.
Hey, how are you? This is Kenny and Sharaledon. We're doing our cafe chats. Just to give you a little background, I met Sharaledon about what, almost a year ago now?
Yeah, a little bit over a year because we did the first interview. It's been a year already.
Yeah, just over a year. And so what happened, I began to start writing poetry again, and I was looking for someone that I did not know who would critique my work without any judgment, but to really critique it. And so I was online and I ran across this brother on Facebook, and I hit him up and said, look, I've been writing poetry and I need you to critique my stuff. And he was willing to. And so ever since then, we've been collaborating and sharing and having fun with doing our poetry.
But what he has not shared with you is that I made we agreed to meet downtown in the Atlanta area at a coffee shop, Urban Grind. And when Ken started to read his stuff to me, I just sat back in the chair and kind of wanted to, you know how I talk, just kind of wanted to punch him in the eye. I'm like, dude, what happened? I mean, why are you not doing what you should have been doing the whole time?
Well,
I mean, I enjoy his work. More than being a writer or a poet, I am a lover of poetry. So to come across that type of writing and that kind of expression that he brings to poetry was really big for me. So I'm hoping that you find the same thing as we go through our own individual way of expressing ourselves poetically.
Right. So I have to open the window because it's a little warm in here. So what we're going to do today, y'all, we're just going to share some poetry. You see, we got our teas. We're sipping some teas. Anthony Stinson, what's up, dude? Hey, cuz. So we're going to sip on some teas, and we're going to read our poetry. If you want to comment, feel free to comment. However, make sure your comments are appropriate. Don't go too far left on us, because we both will put you in check. We're just having fun, y'all. We're just having fun.
But listen, before we get started, Kim asked me what cup I was going to bring, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the mug that I bought. This particular mug with a B on it, it does stand for, of course, my last name, Brave. But I also want to share that as an educator in the D.C. area, one of my students gave me this particular mug about 2.5, 3 years ago. And she just celebrated her 80th birthday because in D.C., the school I worked with was a school that we call it an opportunity academy, and gave students who wanted to go ahead and get their diploma at any time in life that opportunity to do so. So Miss Betty has just turned 80 years old, and she actually reached out to me today by text, let me know how her birthday went. So this cup, Miss Betty, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. It's traveled with me. The students know when I put it down someplace, they always bring it back to me because they know my cup. So
yeah, and my cup has hope on it. Hope. I got it at work as a gift, I think, one Christmas. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let Sharaledon read his piece first. Then I'll read a piece, or we may talk about them and just go from there. We're going. This is truly unscripted, organic, and we're just going for it. All right.
It's so unscripted because he was supposed to go first, but that's fine. You know, be always ready. No, I'm great. The first piece I'm going to read is called Invocation.
Good piece. Just the title itself.
Oh my gosh. I invoke the power of the Holy Presence to be present in my living, and to forgive me when I have doubt or fear or any careless misgiving. I invoke the care of the one who knows my nature by my name, who holds me close and wipes my tears and shields me from crippling shame. I invoke the goodness of the giver who gives without regards, and if I think in lack or want, my mind, my giver guards. I invoke the character of divine to show me how to be, to understand that who I am is greater than what others see. I invoke the passion of the lover of my soul. For it is the passion in this moment, my being is completely whole. Invocation.
I like that. I like that. So what inspired you to write that?
Invocation basically started, it was supposed to be a four-liner, but it's kind of hard to walk away from just what invocation is.
Right.
And just the word itself. And, coming from the AME background, when you look at the order of service, that invocation pretty much ushers in the spirit.
Right.
And once I started with the first four line, it got easier. I mean, it just kind of took over, that invocation.
Right.
And so it's actually becoming one of my second favorite, right behind my dwelling place.
Got you. And to me, y'all, it sounds like that's transcendence, because that piece transcends the confines of the church proper. That this encompasses life in general, and it encompasses nature, and just wherever we are, that we can invoke and be in the presence of the holy.
Absolutely.
Cool. I like that. I'm gonna share my favorite. This is my trademark piece, y'all. I'm gonna call it my trademark piece, and it's called Sacred Place. Sacred place, beyond the veil, in the midst of the holies, surrounded by my ancestors transfigured. There I sat, sitting native style, hands raised to the highest heavens, head bowed down to Mother Earth, tears flowing like the mighty river Jordan. Patiently, I waited, expecting something to take place, open to the possibility of a visitation, yearning for an encounter with the holy, desiring to be born again. Anxiously, I wept. Then the eternal enters this place, words unutterably spoken, yet knowing and calling my name, speaking to my soul. In awe, I shook. Suddenly, he touched me. The fragility of my existence, the brokenness of my being, lovingly and tenderly restored. In that moment, I praised. Ancestors dancing to the rhythm of the drums, voices raised in harmonies never before heard, the heavens opening her doors for a fleeting moment, giving me a glimpse of the other sitting on the throne. And I, yes, laying prostrate, I worshipped. My eternal thou laid there with me until my tears curtailed its exodus, and the spirit of the divine engulfed my soul. My transformation found its impetus in total elevation. I danced. Finally, it happened. Words spoken I've longed to hear. My creation affirmed and my being validated. My child, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And in that sacred place, I rejoiced.
Wow. One of the advantage I have is that I can not only hear him, I try to make a point of not reading over his shoulder. But this one particular, kind of held me there, but there was one particular line that really gets me, and that is, if I may quote it, my creation affirmed and my being validated.
Right.
And so if anyone, follow my writing and also follow Kenneth's writing, we're really big on affirming who we are,
right,
as the idea of the divine,
right,
mind. And that right there, I see that you have it in the last stanza, and I'm sitting here with goosebumps because that's really what it's all about.
Right. To be affirmed, be affirmed, and as we go through these encounters with the holy, the different things that we do to express. I worship, I dance, I cry. I think I said something about I praise, I shook, and I wept because sometimes when you are in the presence, and when you know how far away we've been, it makes you weep.
When you talk about being that far away from the presence of the holy.
Right.
And I love, you've done it first, and this, I love this, anytime we invoke the ancestors.
Exactly. They're with us.
Yeah.
They're with us.
And I've gotten to the place, I've got some strange writing styles.
Right.
That when I mention ancestors, I'm usually using the capital A.
Right.
Because it's like a collective name, a collective proper name for me, proper noun, and it's just a great place to know that that is a part of our history, a part of our heritage, a part of what Big Mama taught us.
Right.
Yeah.
And Jesus is our ancestor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dr. Daniel Black broke that down one night on his program. He does the thing on Friday nights. And he broke that down, talking about how Jesus is a part of our ancestral lineage. And I'm like, that is so true because we are part of his bloodline now. Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm going to do one called entitled "Step Up," and only because this one's not on the computer. Let me put my eyes on. Step up. Step into the light. Step into the breeze. Step into the spirit who speaks to the trees. Step into the warmth. Step into the cool. Step into the source who is the ultimate fuel. Step into the breath. Step into the tears. Step to the conqueror of all our fears. Step up to injustices. Step up to the hate. Step up to the judge of all our fate. Step up to life. Step up to love. Step up to the creator we're all made of. Step up. Step up.
Step up.
I'm going to go right into something.
Go ahead.
November 3rd, step up.
Yeah.
November 3rd,
Step up. That's it.
Now, thank you. I know some of you all have already stepped up, but there's a few that's still kind of lagging behind.
A lot of gagging around.
Right.
Don't play with this.
Okay, but by November 3rd, step up.
Enough said. I'm going to share a piece entitled Milk. All right. And I'm just going to read it first, and then we'll talk about it. But I want to say one thing. Nikki Giovanni inspired me to write this piece. All right, then we'll go from there. Milk. Breasts filled with the gift of life. Nourishment and nutrition prepared for her own. Pain and pleasure as they both physically adjust to this special time of feeding and bonding. Mother singing lullabies filled with love as her newborn child looks into her eyes, recognizing the voice heard in the womb while this mother's mind is wondering just how long it will be until this tender moment is disturbed, anxiously feeding her own child first before she's violently snatched away. The master's wife gave birth as well, whose breasts are for his own selfish pleasure, sending their child to the mother of his other, who was born on the very same day. Go get that wench whose breasts are full. It's time to feed my child, she said, forcing her own from the tip of the right to feed her baby's half-sibling. Her own precious baby cries out for more as this troubled mother pulls her away. She has to care for her master's suckling for hers to keep on living. Filled with fear as she enters the rear of this mansion built by slaves, she picks up this child of another whose anger she daily greets. Releasing only her left from her garments, the sibling of her own latches on. All the while she's thinking to herself, baby, you are what you eat.
Okay.
Now, that last line, that very last line, the baby, you are what you eat. Sharaledon was supposed to be coming to hear Nikki Giovanni, but they got stuck in traffic. When they got there, the line was from here to Timbuktu, and they couldn't get in. But I was fortunate enough to get there early, and I got a good seat. So anyway, Nikki Giovanni, God bless her soul, she was talking about the slaves and how they had to care for the master's children and how they could only use one breast for the master's child and their own child could not use the same breast, right? And so the very last thing she was talking about was that line when she was envisioning these slaves nursing these children, and she said, they don't realize you are what you eat. Wow. You're eating the milk from your slave's woman, wench, or whatever you want to call them, because that's what they called them. And they are trusting you to feed their child. Isn't that something? So this piece was inspired by Nikki Giovanni. Thank you.
That, you would think that all that I've learned, all that I've come through, that some things don't just shake you to your core. It was tough for me to listen to that piece.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've got to be grateful for of course, people like Nikki Giovanni and yourself, and any of us who know the historical background of this country,
right,
and are able to take it and put it into another form that can be digestible for just about anybody.
Exactly.
And so that's to always be appreciated. Wow. I'm going to change the tone just a little bit, not because that one was heavy, but it was heavy.
I got some heavy ones too.
Yeah. So I have one that I really had forgotten that I had written, and we were talking about that earlier, that we write so much, and over the years, just sometimes that you just don't really, really know what you even have as far as your, there's a term that they use, I use it from music, in your catalog. Yeah. But this one's entitled Love. Love is so much more than a feeling. It has a commitment to shine, to grow, to forgive, to show, to honor, to hold. Love is unlimited in its capacity to do all these and so much more. Love does not constrict. Love does not define, label, hit, or undermine. It does not judge, hate, segregate, or stagnate. Not love. Love finds a way to honor the beauty that is inherent in every soul, even when one fails to acknowledge one's own inherited beauty. Love may leave one feeling weak, but love itself is never weak. It is the strongest exponential force in the universe, often underused, underappreciated, and misunderstood. It is a healer, a revealer, and when it comes to sacred places, a concealer. Love expands and rejuvenates at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, I reintroduce to you the one, the first, and the last, love.
And the greatest of these is love.
The greatest of these is love.
Love encompasses all. Love undergirds all. I wrote an affirmation that talks about if it ain't love, don't serve it. If love ain't in it, I don't want it.
Yeah, I think I Thanksgiving I did this piece, or I did. It's two ways that I do it. If you be there banging all them pots, but if you ain't got love in them pots, don't serve it. And I did one recently, and I knew it was misunderstood by at least one person.
Yeah.
About gumbo. I said something about if you're making the gumbo, there's no love in that gumbo, throw it out, or something like that.
Yeah.
And somebody totally misunderstood what I meant. Started talking about red rice and spaghetti and everything else.
Missed the whole point.
I decided just to leave it alone, because sometimes when you start to stir things, and just to correct somebody, it just kind of stirs things up even more. Exactly. So I decided to leave it alone.
Exactly. Okay, y'all, I'm going to share a piece, and I'm gonna do a preemptive strike. This is a provocative piece. It's a heavy piece. I'm just going to forewarn you. It's about suicide. So I want you to listen. It's entitled Jump. Jump. Have you ever thought about it? Has this notion ever crossed your mind? Thinking this may be your way out? I need a release. Wow. Jump. There has to be something better than this. Living on this side has been pure hell. Having to carry this heavy load in silence, weighing the balance. Jump. Truth is distorted, conflated with lies. Wearing this mask has become cumbersome. Walking as if I'm whole, when in reality, I'm broken. Living ain't easy. Jump. Do I or do I not? This is the question, you see. It's not an irrational, fleeting moment in time. A compilation of life's disappointments is the culprit. I'm nobody's sideshow. Jump. Do I leave those who claim they love me? I have no desire for parting words in a note. Why doesn't love live here anymore? I'm on a tightrope. Jump. Oh, the heaviness fills my empty and depleted soul. Inner voices encouraging me in such a sly and devious manner. Is this my day of transition? The day I meet my maker? I just want to be free. Jump. 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 Now, let's have a conversation. The reason why I shared this piece is because this is something that we don't talk about within our community. You know, a lot of people struggle with depression, heaviness, sadness, various guilt that pushes us over the edge. And we don't take advantage of the resources at our disposal. Say it like that. We don't do therapy. We don't do counseling. We pray to sweet Jesus. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there are other resources available for us as African Americans that will help us process the stuff that we deal with every day. Therapy is excellent. I've been to therapy myself, right? And so I wrote this piece because there have been some times when I thought about, okay, what are my options? This is being totally organic and transparent. And I know some of y'all probably saying, whoa, what? Yeah. There have been some times when I'm like, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm sick of it. But I had resources available to me that helped me process where I was. And I took advantage of therapy as well. So all I'm saying is I wrote this piece as a way to begin those conversations within our community that we don't want to talk about suicide, but it's a reality.
It very much is. I remember in my first book, What Will I Tell My Children, I addressed the depression being on the dark side. But fortunately for me, I was comfortable enough back in 2002, 2003, that when I realized that something was going on with me, the relatives had flown into town spending some time with me, and I knew something was actually different going on that I had not experienced before. And I bring up my relatives because it goes right back to being in a position where we do not stigmatize people for dealing with depression or any other type of mental illness or what we deem not normal. And the question is, what is normal?
Yeah.
And so I a lot of times, you know, in my writings, I invoke a lot about spirit, but I also invoke a lot about the human existence and the fact that we are one connected to the other, connected to source. And so I am so grateful that in 2003, what I was going through, that I was comfortable enough to speak to family members about what I was going through and got the help that I needed. And that is one of the reasons that I write and work from where I write and work from. So, I get texts and messages all the time. If you know my background, you would understand where I come from. If you don't, you'll learn it in time. And I'll take an opportunity like this to just say that I'm grateful. I would like to say that I experienced suicide at the age of 18 and 19 with a classmate while I was at South Carolina State College. And I recently spoke to a friend, talking many decades ago, right? But I realized that we really did not process it. We didn't process it, and not process it. We didn't really talk much about it, and then when I experienced it again, and like in 2001. You had someone who was at the beginning of his life, and then I had a friend who was, I wouldn't say at the end of his life, but he was about 74 years old that took his life. And because I hadn't processed the first one, the second one really took me for a loop.
Yeah.
But thanks be to God, I'll say this. Recently, probably in the last about 3 years, I was asked to write a memorial piece for a young man who was dealing with post-traumatic stress syndrome. Did I get it right?
Yeah, PTSD.
Yeah, and who took his own life. And in writing the piece, I did not address religion and the fact of what religion says about suicide. Or better yet, let me take that back. Not what the Bible says about suicide,
Right.
but what religion people say about suicide.
And that's a whole different conversation.
It is. It really is a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But to bring peace to that family through my writing also brought peace to me in my understanding and no judgment about suicide. But the hope is always to get to someone before it gets to that point.
Laura, I read your note, and I appreciate that. There are those of us who are not afraid of therapy. Hate the term. We as Black people don't. I hear you, and I'm with you. I'm with you. And thanks for chiming in. Yeah. But we don't talk about it. We don't. And that's, many of us, I think, were raised that, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. And sometimes our left hand needs to know what the right hand is doing because it's pained. And in order to deal with that pain, you've got to come clean.
Yeah.
I was talking to a good friend of mine about it a couple of days ago. And, I think this month is either mental health awareness or mental health month, one or the other.
And September was
suicide
National
awareness?
Suicide Month or something like that.
Yeah, but it's something that we, within our own community, need to be more transparent about and seek the help that we need. Seek counseling is a better word than therapy, but seek counseling. That can be from a trusted friend or a professional counselor. Because I would tell you, it's beneficial. I've gone and I may go again when I need to. All right, that's my last heavy piece.
All right. So, I'm going to follow his heavy piece with a piece of reconciliation.
Cool.
I call it What Mountain. Here stands this mountain, perched majestically high, its razor horn crest sharply piercing the skies. This mountain stands fast, obstructing my very growth. Couldn't go over or under. I know I tried them both. This mountain stands solidly, blocking greener pastures. This mountain, this rock, I must surely master. Standing in the distance, it grows from all my fears, getting harder to contend with from days to months and months to years. One morning as I awoke, singing praises of gratitude, looked at that menacing mountain with all its girth and altitude. Now I scale this very mountain, reaching its highest peak, believing I can manifest whatever I plainly speak. This mountain continues to strengthen me as I squarely address my fears, for there is no mountain greater than my loving God who cares. What mountain?
What mountain? There's an old song that says, Lord, don't move my mountain, but give me the strength to climb.
There's I just forgot his name. The brother that with the baritone, and he does this at the black and white keys. He used to sing.
Phelps?
Yes.
Phelps.
Yes.
Whitley Phelps.
Yeah.
Whitley or Whitney Phelps,
Yeah.
something like that.
He makes the statement. He says about Southern people being smart. He said this old lady said, "Well, son, if the mountain was smooth, you wouldn't be able to climb it."
I know that's right.
Okay? But my thing is that climbing that mountain gives you strength. It gives you that endurance. Because if you got mountains, you're gonna have valleys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I would leave it there.
I experienced that at the Stone Mountain all the time. That's why I go climb that bad boy, because you got the highs and the lows, and it's a good, not only a good workout, but it's my spiritual journey as well. I'm gonna read a piece entitled "Solitude." Y'all enjoying these? Just chime in, let us know. Domestic violence is also this month. Okay, that's on you.
Domestic violence.
See, I'm reading.
Also, thank you, Van, for that.
Yeah, we got two devices going to catch Sharaledon's folk and to catch my folk. So we looking up and down all over the place. So chime in. We appreciate you all. Go ahead.
I want to respond to that.
Go ahead.
This is what we're already on the 26th day.
Yeah.
And thank you, Ben. I think I knew about it, not this year. I surely knew about it last year. And so I am going to look for a piece to share dealing with domestic violence. I do know that I shared a 4-liner a couple of days ago that talked about the mental side of domestic violence. Just because a hand is not laid does not mean that you're not being taken advantage of. All right. So go ahead with yours. In the meantime, I'm going to look for that particular piece. Thank you, Van.
Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna do solitude, and I do the other one later. Solitude. Excuse me. Sitting in contemplative silence, listening to the sounds of utter quietness, mindfully focusing on this precious moment, waiting for the interlude to begin. Alone, hauntingly peaceful, yet at the same time desiring communion with another, one who sees my worth even within the flaws, as I, in turn, see the worth within their being. 2 torn, tethered, and teachable souls, looking beyond the superficial and facade, seeing the beauty of spirit deep within, anticipating the moment when souls are intertwined. 2 becoming one without formality, even if just for a moment, breaking the silence within this impenetrable solitude with the synchronization of fluttering hearts, finding the rhythm of the other. In a strange and unfamiliar harmonious unity, a new song is birthed at the highest crescendo, cascading deep within the hearts and minds of both. Let this moment last for an eternity, even in solitude.
Give me the title of that one again.
Solitude. See, he ain't got no sense, y'all.
You had a lot to say.
I had to laugh.
Somebody that was in solitude.
Well.
Wow. Give me a second on that one. Hauntingly peaceful. Yeah.
Hauntingly peaceful. There's a peace, right? But there's an aspect of peace that, this is just me, y'all. We just talking. This is all organic. This is just having fun. But there's an aspect of peace that can be haunting. Especially when the stillness is so still that it terrifies you. You feel me?
Yeah.
And in the midst of that solitude, in the midst of that stillness, sometimes there is a longing for another to experience the hauntingly found within the peace. Woo, Lord. I don't know what
you know what's interesting about you reading that one, because you're talking about the haunting. The piece I'm about to read is entitled "Protecting the Demon Within."
Okay,
go ahead, please.
And think about. I want to connect this even with our ancestors. You know that there was. This is just me shooting, talking. I wonder if there was a peace that they experienced even in the midst of their own haunting.
And you know what that brings me to?
Go ahead.
Going back to. Oh my gosh, where's my mind? The writer, Bluest Eyes, beloved, Toni Morrison.
Toni Morrison, right?
And when you talk about the peace in the haunting,
right.
When, I had the opportunity to read the book before the movie came out, so I probably understood a little bit more than for people who actually just saw the movie. It was kind of hard to make the connection,
right?
But there was a in the book at least I saw that there was an understanding of being at peace with what the main character had done to make sure that her child did not have to deal with the evils of slavery.
Right.
So I get what you're talking about there. Yeah.
And this fits that, because think about the husbands and wives of couples who were torn apart, right? One sold at one plantation and the other one somewhere else, and the kids snatched from them, right? So when you look at that whole imagery, and you see that there is a solitudinal aspect to it, where I'm haunted by what's going on, but somehow there is a peace, not Piece, but a peace within that keeps me moving. Right? Does that make sense? That even in the midst of everything being ripped apart, you got to have some peace in order to endure that. And so that's what this piece is about. It's about two people coming together, but it's also about the experience that we have when when peace is disturbed, when things feel as if it's about to fall apart, but God still gives us peace in the midst of all of that. And even if it's just for a moment, when the two do come together, how do you celebrate it? Those two spirits, or two souls, or two torn, tethered, teachable souls, when they finally come together, at least for a moment, without any formality. Oh, snap, something happened. I got knocked off, but I'll be back.
So, in the meantime, while you're trying to get back on yours, let me go ahead and, when you start talking about during, time of enslaved people and being, the thing that came to my mind is what's going on right here in America,
right,
with children, over 500 children still separated from their parents.
Exactly.
With this,
go ahead.
There's a particular word I want to use, but regarding immigration policy, let me just put it to you that way. I don't want to go too far into that, but that's what came to my mind when you started talking about that type of separation. The separation that we're talking about that happened anywhere from 1619 all the way to was it 1865? But I may have my dates wrong, especially on the end. But let's just say that the 1860s. And now to be basically speaking of it again in the year 2020. It's interesting. But in the meantime, what I want to do, Van, is
I'm back.
I did find one that I'd like to share with you on dealing with domestic violence. Let's see if I can pull this up. I should never try to do this on my computer.
Sorry about that, y'all.
Okay. This one's entitled Protecting the Demon Within. Wow. So, Command G, Command F. There we go. See if I can get this. All right, and glasses. I'm going to really need it. I'm working on a program that's not very friendly. Protecting the demon within. Let me put this in front so you can actually see me. Yes, you are beautiful, made in the image of God, growing like a seed protected by a pod. But not everyone sees life as you do, and they think to steal the joy inside of you. Because you are smaller, to them you are weak. However, you become the stronger when help you do seek. Rationalization, excuses don't stop the abuses. From the beautiful home to the fancy cars, no amount of material gathering will erase mental scars. Scars that will fester and carry you through hell because for all your own reasons you refuse to tell. To tell someone that your life is worth living. Stop protecting the demon within. Avoid a senseless killing. No one should suffer at the hands of another, especially if this person is your partner or lover. Protecting the demon within.
Wow. That's
because, and interestingly enough, there was another one that I wanted to read and I just could not find it. And it's within the same book, and I don't know why I couldn't find it, which is interesting. Reading this one actually made more sense because it talks about some of the reasons people think they need to stay in a relationship. And I use the term people because domestic violence happen male and female, male on male, female on female, family members, all of that. And that goes back to the stigma. Let's just call it what it is because if it happens.
Right.
All right. So I hope that that during this month, at any time, you recognize your wholeness, and embrace who you are, and to realize that any kind of abuse is not good.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna do this one I wrote. This is back in, I think, last November. Hey y'all, I'm back. I got disconnected, but I'm back on my Surface Pro. But thank God I got the copy from Sharaledon as well, so I can upload the complete thing. We got 20 minutes. This is entitled Nature's Orchestra. I can't even talk. And I wrote this after one of my mountain climbs at Stone Mountain. It was Thanksgiving morning. The air was brisk and chilly. Skies of radiant blue, the sun brightly shining. People ascending to the pinnacle of the mountain and others descending to the base. There I stood, off to the side in solitude, gently leaning against a stone, listening in silence to the music being played, a masterpiece of praise engulfing my space. Winds causing the trees to sway in elation, birds flapping their wings, chirping and flying through the air, owls screeching out for their mates in call and response, squirrels and chipmunks gathering nuts for winter's cold, doe and fawn searching for their next meal, leaves spiraling downward covering Mother Earth, moving in various tempos from a waltz to a quick step, dancing to the rhythms being played as the cool, brisk wind sings her lullaby. My soul revived and my spirit healed. Sing your song, Mother Nature. Let the instruments of creation join in praise. Let the trees stretch forth her branches in adoration. Let the rocks cry out in worship. To the heights of the highest heavens rejoice. Unseen presence engulfing these holy grounds, the spirit of thou breathing throughout infinity, causing all of nature to rise and shout, standing in the presence of the Creator. I too praise the eternal. I too lift my voice.
No rock crying out for you.
I joined them.
That's what I love it, man.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You all can't see this, but we're sitting in a room with many windows, and as Kenneth is reading this, I'm looking out one of the windows, and the breeze are blowing the leaves on the trees, and so I'm actually not only hearing it, I'm actually living it, and so that's beautiful, and I love how you invoke nature through so much of this piece. If not invoke it, it is the foundation of the piece. Not just the nature as far as the plants, but also the nature as far as the creatures.
Right.
The owl screeching out to his mate and everything.
Because I'm gonna tell you, it was so funny. I was out at Stone Mountain. Many of y'all know I go to Stone Mountain 4 or 5 days a week, and that's my exercise place, and that's my meditation and my spiritual outlet place, right? And so on this particular Thanksgiving morning of last year, when I was out there, was it last year? Yeah. Year before last, one of them. But anyway, I was listening to the owls, and it was funny how one would do a rhythm, and I'm gonna say the rhythm was on a C note, right? And the other one would do the same rhythm on a lower note. Let's say it was an A flat note. I'm a musician, right? And I kept listening to it, and it was do 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 do. And I sat back and I said do 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 do. And they did that for like 20 minutes, and I was just in awe because I wondered, was that their mating call or was that them marking their territory? But whatever it was, they were communicating, right? Yeah. And then you see all of other aspects of nature doing what nature does. Leaves falling off, the squirrels doing their thing. Man, it was just an orchestra. Yes. Because God has a way of allowing nature to be what nature is supposed to be. And nature just does this thing. Trees do what they're supposed to do. They stretch out their leaves and their branches, right?
What blew me about what you just said, and I can't wait to go back and actually listen to this recording because, but we can also put us in the place of nature. In that same statement, it will blow some people's minds. Yeah. But that's really what it's all about. Yeah. It goes back to free will and your choices. God allows But it's our free will and choices that we have to also understand. With free will and choices come consequences.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
So there you go. Go ahead, please.
And to push it even further, in this season that we are in now, which is pandemic, right? It's helping me look deeper into spirituality, and it's helping me redefine, right, or reframe, or to reconsider what I actually believe.
Wow, I get it.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Because in this
I get
pandemic, right, I've been doing some serious soul searching and self-reflecting, right? And it's making me reevaluate, what's really important. I'm going to go there, and some folk might not like it, but there are so many things we do in the name of religion or in the name of spirituality that has absolutely nothing to do with the holy. We do it out of tradition and out of habit, and we do it, oh God, I'm going to jail today. And we do it sometimes to seek attention from the other who has the power to validate us.
That's
Woo!
wow. I saw something someone posted on Facebook.
Ooh, you got a lot of likes.
And I did not forward this because I did not do the research, but it made a lot of sense.
Right.
It was a picture, I think, of, I love putting myself in closets like that. Napoleon. And said, our religion is used to keep the poor from killing the rich.
Yeah.
And, I love that because it's amazing where I find that some people just don't want to be free.
Exactly.
Because being free meaning that Big Mama, religion, may not suit your spirituality.
Right now.
Exactly.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Because what she had worked for her.
And there's nothing negative about it. It is what it is. Yeah. What she had got her through. Right? And it got her to, and I would never deny.
Yes.
Oh God, because I would never, because we are still the beneficiaries of their prayers.
Absolutely.
We're standing on their shoulders, and so I'm not going to deny what they gave us, a serious foundation. But there's more.
That's what it was. It was a foundation.
It was a foundation, but there's more for us to experience and to even share, and it transcends the confines of the four walls. Somebody on your page said that I think I missed it, but God is in everything.
Very much so.
Yeah,
I'm glad you said that, because one thing that came to my mind when we was talking about nature was the mountain itself.
Yeah.
We look at a rock as an inanimate object.
Exactly.
That is not the thing to do. It is a creation.
It's a part of God's creation.
It is a part of the divine idea and mind. All right? So, and if you don't want to look at it that way, think of it from a volcano standpoint. All right? It's always changing. All right? Evolving.
Exactly.
And so I'm gonna read this piece, Created to be Loved. I wanted to go back to one of my Facebook friends. I love her. Pam has stated about the abuse, that never stay in an abusive relationship and to seek help. I think I did a very good job paraphrasing because you're no longer on there. So Pam, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. But I wanted to do Created to be Loved because I see there's a connection sometimes to staying in an abusive relationship, no matter what type of abuse it is, and how we feel about ourselves. All right? So this one's entitled Created to be Loved. We were created to be loved, whether one was created in love. Thus we seek it all life long. Looking high, searching low, though never going deep enough to the places we need to go. We fear going into the caverns and into the crevices of our heart. We fear crossing the rivers of our soul and traveling in the dark. Thus abandoning the very essence, the makeup, the nature, the genetic predisposition of love itself. Love is bio-emotional. It feeds, it grows, and it reproduces. It shares, it feels pain, yet it heals itself. Love is more than a feeling. It is a commitment to the universe to invest your portion. a commitment to yourself to grow and develop and to fully appreciate your existence, a commitment to others to encourage them to do likewise. Love, in its most basic form, is what makes us human. It is what illuminates us all. It is what makes the atoms providing life collide, providing warmth and the glow that only love can create. The very presence of love, much like a candle in darkness, has the potential to forever change its surroundings, offering an open invitation to be redeemed at face value. Love, the most precious commodity. Love, love, love.
Offering an open invitation to be redeemed at face value. Now that's deep. That's deep. That to me, I hear that love accepts you for who you are.
Absolutely.
Without any preconceived judgment.
Love created you.
Love created you.
Love created you with no judgment.
With no judgment.
So why would love create you with no judgment and judge you through your life? Exactly. That's not love.
That's not love. That's not love. Deep, deep, deep.
I see my brother there, Delindo. Wow. Thank you, Delinda. I appreciate you, my brother.
I appreciate you guys doing what y'all are doing. I'm going through serious marriage issues. The pieces you guys just are.
My brother, you know what? I'm holding you. Yeah. Holding both of you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I love you.
I'm going to change the flow. Well, my flow, rather. And this piece is entitled Dreams.
Thank you, Pam.
Dreams. Dreams. Dreams give us glimpses of life in snippets. What was, what could have been, what is yet to come. Dreams of what may never be. Fantasies and nightmares sharing space. Dreams of being in my parents' home, sitting on the far end of the brown rustic sofa with wooden frames. Covers thrown, camouflaging the rips and tears in the vinyl. Next to the metal gas stove that kept us warm in winter. Dreams of running out of the front door, through the carport and front yard to Mrs. Mitchell's country store. Decades later, running out once again, only this time because death came to claim her. Dreams of falling and never hitting the bottom, running either from or to something nonstop. Sometimes in slow motion or just running in place, never reaching the final destination. Dreams of being chased by wild animals, completely exhausted and drenched in sweat. Heart palpitations piercing the contours of my chest, yet in bed laying still, completely immobilized by the other. Is this a trance or another dreaded dream? Is this night visitor a succubus or incubus, sexualizing my vulnerable and exposed state of being as I vacillate between sleep and awake? Dreams that are all too real, abruptly disturbed, protecting my soul from devastating endings. Chilling dreams at times, giving insights to the horrid, while others comfort and nurture my soul. Yes, dreams can be fascinating and thrilling, exhausting and uplifting, comforting and exhilarating, damning and dreadful, personal and very private. And I dream on anyway.
I have to say this. The first thing that really caught my attention, fantasies and nightmares sharing the same space.
Yep. Yep.
I think it caught my attention because in dreams, it can happen just that way.
That quick.
Yeah. And, one of the things I try to do a lot is try to remember my dreams. And in my dream, I can see myself, oh, God, I need to remember this when I wake up. And the more I try to do that, that's going to be the dream that I'm going to forget anyway. So, I've learned not to do that so much. Yeah. But here you are
awesome.
Invoking all of the family, the history, the neighbor, what you're, and
let me go back to it. My mother, my next door, Mrs. Mitchell had a country store, like from here to that house, from our house. Okay. Yeah. And so we would always, my brothers and I, my cousins and I would run out of our house through the carport to that store. to get whatever. And then when my mother passed, I found myself running out that same front door. That's what the connection was like. Wow, I remember running out that door the day before she passed. It was like, because I didn't want to believe she was actually leaving or transitioning. But that was that initial reaction to seeing her lying there, and I ran out that same front door. Yeah.
Do you? I'm going to ask a very strange question.
Go ahead.
Was it one of those front doors or screen doors that slammed behind you? At any point?
It was a wooden door with a glass.
Okay, got you. Because I remember as a child, my grandparents used to yell at me and my cousins about slamming the screen door or let the screen door slam.
Right, but there was a screen door there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes we would keep that front door open. There was a screen door there sometimes, and sometimes the screen was torn out because
so
we
this
knocked
is
it
my
out.
way of getting him to start writing something on the screen door and the whole feeling. And that's what poets do,
Right.
And I see we have about 5 minutes. In that 5 minutes, I want so bring your best swing out.
You do one, I do one.
Okay. Particular. I'm going to just right into it. This one's entitled "Who Will." Who will feed the children that often go unfed? Who will kiss the orphans gently upon their heads? Who will shelter the homeless that continually walk our streets? Who will provide shoes to cover their tired, sore feet? Who will provide medication for the elderly and the poor? Who will provide affordable prices at the pharmacy and the grocery store? Who will fight the drugs that are killing a generation? When we will elect a president who respects the United Nations? Who will show compassion for the child born in poverty, receiving a lesser education because budgets are based on property? Who will vote in assemblies against bills of hatred and separation, and not falsely defend one vote when faced with interrogation? Who will give of their time, of their talents and resources to build an army of great minds instead of military forces? Who will take the time to love and accept other races, understanding that we have more in common than our hands, feet, and faces? Who will forego greed, for which this country is really founded, and look toward inner peace that has kept us rooted and grounded? Who will fight for justice while others fight for contracts, to build more jails and prisons, to railroad and warehouse more blacks? Who will boycott the products that promote negative stereotypes, portraying women as whores and brothers chasing the hype? Who will forego the luxury SUV to prepare our children for college, instead of investing in 20-inch rim, invest in a lifetime of knowledge? Who will leave the expensive name brands hanging on the racks? Many of these designers take our money and never look back. Who will raise a community by raising one's own mind, continually searching for answers that are the most difficult to find? Who will lower the high walls and break through glass ceilings to expose the crookedness behind closed-door illegal dealings? Someone was willing to take a stand for what we enjoy today. Should we not stand for the present to show someone else the way? Wisdom comes to those who choose to stand for what is right. When one chooses such a road, prepare for an unfair fight. So I asked the question that's been asked so many times before: why is it when we had much less, it seemed we gave so much more? Who will?
Who will? Have mercy.
Vote.
Vote. We got 4 minutes. 2 minutes. Anyway, I'm going to do this last one. It's entitled Picnic. 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 It's time for a picnic. Baskets filled with foods and drinks. Red and white checkered cloths covering tables. Blankets spread all around on grounds. Kids running to and fro. Flying towards the heavens on swings. Frolicking around without any cares. Waiting for the main event. Wives fixing plates for their spouses and children. Husbands drinking moonshine behind the barn. Pipes filled with tobacco piercing the air. And the main event is yet to come. All the town's people are on the grounds. Bellies filled to the brim with both food and booze. Gather around, everybody, he shouted. Gather around. The main event is about to take place. People gather around the old oak tree. Kids sitting on the ground in front, anxiously waiting. A nervous energy fills the evening air as the sun takes her place at twilight. We got a good one, I tell you. Caught him trying to run away. Bet you won't run no more, boy, said another, while spitting tobacco juice on the ground. One end tightly draped around the limb of that old oak tree, the other tightly tied around his neck, standing on the back of Mr. Charlie's wagon as the onlookers anticipate the main event. Giddy up, he yells, smacking the horse's ass, galloping down the path at full speed, leaving him suspended in air for dear life, kicking, struggling, and breathing his last as the sun completely sets. Those who are gathered looking up in awe, there hangs the main event for the day, swinging with the unsettling evening breeze, picnic now personified.
Wow. And now you know why I don't use the word picnic. I'll do a barbecue. I'll even hang out with you. But
That's
picnic,
where the word came from.
I do not do.
Pick a.
All right.
Yeah.
So listen.
Whew, that was fun. 4
I
o'clock.
had a great time with you guys. We'll see you again. When's next?
November 4th. The fourth Monday of November at 3 o'clock on Facebook Live.
So I am Sharaledon Brave.
And I'm Kenneth Hammond.
And we will see you November the 4th Monday. Take
Yeah.
care now.
God bless.